Tomorrow morning, we'll have a lot of sun, but when we're waking up tomorrow morning, it's going to be cold. We're likely to have some ice patches. We're going to talk about the timeline of that refreezing process here in just a moment. But folks flying into Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley sure came into a different Arkansas than the one they left. This is a picture coming into XNA. I mean, it looks beautiful, right? You can even see there's I-49, and as you wrap it around towards the Bentonville area there right now. But otherwise, it looks pretty. This morning, though, it was not pretty. On the roads, we had that burst, and then it moved out, and then the roads were able to really melt some of that snow, and we were pretty much smooth sailing the rest of the day. Bridges and overpasses have been slick. In the River Valley and Fort Smith, we started coating Rogers Avenue and a lot of the parking lots around lunchtime, but then that was for an hour or two, and then the snowfall rate started to dwindle a little bit. It was still snowing, but not as heavy as it was earlier, and that allowed the warmer ground we've had the past couple of days be able to melt some of that snow. So now we're just cruising along Rogers Avenue at a pretty good clip. We're right next to freezing right now in Fort Smith, but I believe that northwest wind's going to pick up overnight and we'll drop to the 20s. And so that's why we're watching for the threat of some refreezing. This is a live look in Fayetteville. I tell you what, we always have so many problems here on I-49 where we have a bridge and then we're also turning at the same time. You still see a little bit of that slush there towards the shoulder. So as long as you stay in those main roads, main lanes, and you don't drift, you should be okay going around some of these bridges. But tomorrow morning, see how it kind of glows from the headlights of that vehicle and other vehicles? There's still a lot of wet spots on these bridges that may try to refreeze overnight. All right, so where do we go from here? The snow is over for us. Central Arkansas, eastern Arkansas, they're still getting that heavy band as it moves east, but we're drying out. In fact, we see that a little bit of a red glow towards the western sky with that sunset. This is a loop over the past 12 hours or so when we got that first wave in northwest, and then throughout the afternoon, we really got it throughout the River Valley. I'd say overall, a couple of us only got a dusting, but many of us got at least 1 inch to 3 inches or so. Right now, we're sitting next to freezing area wide, but we're going to be dropping that temperature quickly. I think by tomorrow morning, as you're waking up, headed out the door, we'll be in the teens. And with that north wind, it's probably going to feel like the low teens. In the River Valley, we'll be in the 20s, but it will feel like the upper teens at times. But the good news is that later into the morning, that wind's going to finally stop. And it's going to start to come out of the south and really warm us up. But until then, it's cold, and here's that timeline for refreezing. We've got a little bit of wet roadways going on right now, maybe a little slush here and there, but overnight tonight, as temperatures drop, we're expecting more refreezing, more slick spots as you're waking up tomorrow morning. Doesn't mean the whole road's going to be ice, but there may be some patches. But I think by midday, once that sun comes back out, we're going to be okay. So snow is wrapping up. We've got a dry night ahead of us. Just watch out for slick spots as you're headed out the door. As soon as that sun comes out, we'll be warming things very quickly. Suntastic. That's what we're expecting. That's coming from Zach Scott. I call it suntastic. We've got a lot of nice weather. We're going to show you that 7-day forecast coming up in just a moment.
I guess he was missing the Texas weather that he left behind, right?
He got a big surprise today, that's for sure.
Absolutely. It'll be nice, though, to enjoy those 70s here in just a couple of days.
Oh, yeah, it's going to feel great.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Matt. Well, before we go to break, we want to show you some winter weather photos shared from you to us. If you have any photos you'd like to share today's snowy weather and to see on tonight's edition of your 5 News at 10, you can download